Hello everyone, my name is CA Anuj Agrawal, and today I'll not be discussing any concept per se about the accounting standard or Ind-As IFRS, which we usually talks about in this channel. Today I just want you to to look at carefully, or the kind of your attention is required. How the things are panning out in terms of the the mind of the practitioners while they are using this changed environment in accounting. So why I'm saying this kind of things here in this platform, it's very easy to get rid with this kind of the changed accounting systems or changed accounting norms. But as we move forward, these kind of accounting changes will be happening more. So I just want to discuss some of my experience when I talk about the accounting changes and the specific accounting requirement in their organizations. Or for example, if I talk to some of the practitioners who are already in the established practice. And when I say the practitioners and all, I'm not talking about the small firms, because when, as you're aware, that when it comes to Ind-As and IFRS, so it will be very less chances for the smaller firms to get these kind of the balance sheets or the financial statements. For that, they need to provide any consulting or an auditing, but exceptions are there. So why I'm talking about, when I'm talking about this practitioner firm, so I'm referring to the mid-size and the the bigger firms. So many of the cases when the practitioners, they had their established auditing practices per se. So I just want to share some of my experience without mentioning anything specifically. uh, the when you meet to the people who are already into the practice for auditing the financial statements for a long time, so when you meet with them and ask them the how they are coping it up for these accounting changes in the IFRS and Ind-As. And it's not something which is the transition period, which was 2016-17. So it's not something that, I mean, it's an ongoing process, and you all might have aware about that. The things are not stopping it. There are many changes are happening day by day, and there are a lot of FAQ, a lot of clarification, which comes now and then from the ICI and other professional body in the world for the number of accounting standards. So it's something which is the specific expertise area to be built in within the firms, or the the dedicated staff to be required, who can look after that particular areas. So when you meet with these kind of the firms, so there are many of the cases where they are not bothered about these changes, and they are not bothered about the how the things are shaping it up. So and they are sticking it with their old traditional method for doing the audit, like for example taking the comfort on the equity or the debt kind of thing. So they are following it their own the old methods for vouching it, or taking the substantive or the control approach, whatever you call it, or whatever you use it for that particular assignment. So I mean, they are reluctant, I mean, they are very reluctant to adopt or to understand deeply for the requirement of that particular standard. So my submission is like, there could be, or there would be a risk towards these ignorance per se, or the little hesitation about these changed environment. And ultimately, if we are not participating in within these changes quickly, so we will be lagging behind. And what will happen after or over the period of time when anything happens, we will be caught up, like not the wrongdoing by intention, but the wrongdoing by the errors or our ignorance or avoidance to learn the new topics. So here I just want to to request or to urge for the firms which are on the mid size or above that, to have the dedicated staff or dedicated partners itself for, and try to give them a chance to brush up their skills, particularly in the Ind-As, because now Ind-As is not just for accounting advisory areas, because now it has become the reality, and now the auditing also to be done for substantiating the Ind-As related numbers or the disclosures or whatever the amounts are. So to invest on these areas, and if you are an auditor or if you are a consultant, please devote the time towards these changes, and do not stick with your old kind of methods, because there are number of auditing methods has been changed, or you would have noticed that it would be changed, to get the comfort. We either it's a control testing or your substantive testing, or it's a disclosure requirement for whatever your financial statement. So to have a plan, and do not hide your sense where you're lacking behind in terms of the accounting, because that will be the future for, as far as if you are call it ourselves as a chartered accountant. So whenever or whoever comes and asks you specifically about these accounting changed which has happened globally, so you should be able to have the the right knowledge, and the right advice in front of you, without to saying that it is not something which is changed, it is a one time change, and the things will be settled. But I'm just trust me, the things is not something which is a one time change, because the things are changing very fastly, and there are a lot of concept papers, white papers, which has already been made by the IASB, which is International Accounting Standard Boards, and there are changes will happen, in the coming months. So feel free to have your deliberations on that, and without taking it this message or this my brief note, don't take it in any of the negative side, but this is just the request, or the for the sake of the profession, that all we should be focusing on this particular aspect of also within our practice, because everybody and everyone is busy in their GST and the income tax also, which is fine and absolutely understandable. But don't ignore this accounting aspects, and accordingly you can train to your audit staff or your article clerks, because a lot of queries which I receives, which are from the firm's staff, so kind of like they are not getting the right answers from their principals. So which is something we should be keeping in mind, and we should act accordingly. So feel free to comment your thoughts, and I'll be happy to share or to resolve your concerns as much as possible. Thank you. Thanks for your time. Thank you.